Welcome back, everyone. As some of you may know, the iPhone 8 Plus is one of those devices that I've talked about heavily. I like a lot. It has a lot of capability, but it's still one of those phones that I just love. I love talking about it. I love reviewing, and I love comparing it against all the other phones that have came out. Now, with the iPhone 8 Plus, this was one of the last iPhones to actually have a home button. Besides the iPhone SE2, this was in fact the last iPhone to bring a home button, and it was kind of like that differentiating factor. This was one of the most perplexing phones, in my opinion, that Apple has released, not because the phone was weird or not because whatever, but mostly because the iPhone 8 Plus came out exactly the same time the iPhone X came out, which was kind of like the next generation, the next iteration of devices. So it was that middle child in a way. You know, they had the iPhone 8 come out, the 8 Plus was the middle child, and the iPhone X was that more expensive premium device. In my opinion, the iPhone X is perfect. It is one of the best phones that have ever came out, in my opinion. But the 8 Plus was also so similar to the iPhone X. It had almost all the capability of it. The only thing was, it was the design of it. And in my opinion, the iPhone 8 Plus's design is one of the more interesting factors of it. I think if the iPhone 8 Plus had that same design as the iPhone X, it'd be completely different. But then there would be no difference between the iPhone 8 Plus and the iPhone X, because visually, the only differences are the visual differences between them. The iPhone 8 Plus is not any more faster or slower than an iPhone X. In fact, some would argue that the iPhone X is slower than the iPhone 8 Plus because of that higher resolution display. But we're talking about like milliseconds at that point. It's not that big of a deal. The RAM was the same. The cameras were pretty much the same. Everything was pretty much identical between the two. But because the iPhone 8 Plus had that older design, it just doesn't really make too much sense for people to go and purchase this phone when the iPhone X is right there. So it's funny because even in my opinion, I look at the iPhone X and I still think this phone is like probably like an 8 out of 10 of a device. Like, it's almost perfect in my opinion. But the iPhone 8 Plus is probably like a 7 out of 10, you know? The main things it's lacking are that gesture-based design and the lack of a newer design too, you know? The iPhone 8 Plus looks like the first iPhone that came out. The iPhone X, it looks a little bit newer. And when you look at the newer iPhones that are coming out, you know, the iPhone 12s, the 11s, the 13s that are about to come out, having a home button just doesn't really make too much sense. And it's crazy because that is the limiting factor. That is the main difference between an iPhone 8 Plus and the newest iPhones in terms of a visual standpoint. Other than that, the iPhone 8 Plus still feels extremely premium. It still feels really good in the hand, and I don't really have that much to complain about it. You know, obviously it's not the fastest thing anymore, and it's probably going to be outdated within like 2-3 years from now, but I still think this is a very good phone. You know, I think this one has a lot of capability still. It's still plenty of fast. I've compared it again to all the other iPhones, and it's not that much more behind. The only limiting factor, like I mentioned for the 5th time now, is the, you know, body. If you're okay with having a home button and all that, then by all means go for it. But it definitely is a little bit more of an outdated design, and like I mentioned, it's just so perplexing to me that this device was the, I guess, middle ground. It was the beginning of the end for this, you know, type of design. Again, we got it with the SE2, but for a flagship device, this was the last one that we got it for. So that's pretty much it. That's, in my opinion, why the iPhone 8 Plus is perplexing in 2021. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.